Thank you, Mr Speaker, for the opportunity to address this House this afternoon. At the heart of the government's economic plan lie 6 main policy drivers. At the heart of the Labor Party's plan lies 2 drivers. I'd like to go through the 6 drivers of the National-led government. First of all, we've said clearly a world-class tax system is what we want. And that's what the Prime Minister has announced today. And that's a tax system that incentivises work and investment and disincentivises consumption, that incentivises saving and disincentivises unnecessary spending in order to help our economy. Secondly, we're prioritising better public service. That's a main policy driver. And unlike the Labor Party, we don't believe that employing more and more staff in government departments is the way to grow the economy. We believe that government departments there to serve the people should work as efficiently as they possibly can. The third main policy driver is education and skills, and that is why Anne Tolley, the Minister of Education, has been successful in convincing parents that it's important that we show and schools show exactly how well their children are doing, and that they can work with teachers. Parents can then work with teachers in order to address small problems before they become big problems. Fourthly, the investment in infrastructure is very, very important to the National Party. We don't talk about building roads or investing in broadband, as the Labor Party did for 9 long years, but we're building roads and we're investing in broadband, and that's what the public want to see. And I apologise to the general public, held up over Christmas and even today with the amount of roadworks that are happening across the country, but we can't help it. We're investing in roads. That's what we're doing. An interim hold-up of traffic because of the roadworks is the price you pay to have a world-class transport system. Regulatory reform is important to the National Party. That's our third main policy driver, to cut red tape, make it easier to do business, and make it easier just to live in New Zealand. Gone are the days of the nanny state that tells you what to do, and we open up the days where we trust New Zealanders and businesses to make decisions for themselves. And lastly, the 6th main policy driver is innovation. Rewarding those who think hard and outside the square, who work hard, who invest with blood, sweat, tears and their own money. Unlike the previous government, who punished people for doing well. If you did well in the education system, you were punished. If you did well in business, you were punished. If you worked longer hours, you were punished. Under this government, you will be rewarded. The Labor government, the Labor Party, has 2 main policy drivers, and that quite simply is, do we get Shane Jones to be our leader, or do we have David Cunliffe as leader? And I understand that they're going out for consultation to the membership and the general population, who unfortunately are not engaged at the moment, to ask, shall we have Shane Jones or shall we have David Cunliffe? And I think once they make that decision, the country will breathe a sigh of relief, and we might be able to get some policies out of the Labor Party instead of Phil Goff week after week on television just bagging everything that's suggested. If the National Party and John Key suggests it, I'm Phil Goff and I'm against it. I'm against it. It means I don't have to think. It means I don't have to think, I don't have to do any research, I don't have to get up early, I don't have to travel around the country. If the national government suggests it, I'm against it, says Phil Goff. So those are our 6 main policy drivers: a world-class tax system, better public services, education and skills, investment in infrastructure, regulatory reform and innovation. Last year was, of course, our first term in government. It was our first term in government, and we succeeded in implementing a whole bunch of policy that was welcomed by New Zealanders. And it ranged right from the stimulus package, where we injected money into housing, 125 million, into roads, 500 million, into building schools, things like investment into infrastructure with the stimulus package, right through to funding things like Herceptin. Not as costly, but Herceptin for women with first stage breast cancer, something the Labour Party and the women in the Labour Party for 9 years opposed. The women, get this, the women in the Labour Party never saw Herceptin funded. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Every New Zealander sitting there thinking, hey, we care about women. We think breast cancer's a real problem. Here's Herceptin which could fix it. Why wouldn't you fund it? And John Key goes, yeah, why wouldn't you? So we funded it. Look at the Labour Party women. I've touched a little nerve, haven't I? Oh, the Labour Party women are getting a little wound up, aren't they? They never funded Herceptin. Listen to them. They're angry. They never funded Herceptin. A sensible, practical, honest, humane thing to do. Fund Herceptin for women with first-stage breast cancer, and the Labour Party women never did it. And they're upset. Why didn't we think of that? Why is it that John Key is more in touch with women's issues than we, the feminists of the Labour Party? Why is it that John Key is more in touch with women than John Key? It's an excellent question. We also focused on crime. We passed new laws to toughen sentences and restrict bail on violent offenders, improve police powers, crack down on gangs and support the victims of crime, Mr. Speaker. We provided funding for an additional 600 police. Look, this Herceptin thing really wound them up, didn't it? I wish they'd thought of it. Why didn't we think of that? That's what they're thinking. Also, we provided 720 tasers and the power to DNA test offenders arrested for imprisonable offences. We've passed legislation to deal with boy races, and we've launched a crackdown on the drug P, which is already resulting in increased seizures, lab busts and prosecutions. Mr. Speaker, it was a big year last year. It's going to be an even bigger one this year. And way at the top there, of course, is our changes to the tax structure. I don't know why David Cunliffe felt that we weren't addressing the issue of property investment. It says clearly from the statement from John Key that the government does believe there's a gap in the current tax system. This is what John Key has said around property investments where income is being derived but in aggregate no tax is being paid. In fact, he says, government is actually losing revenue in the sector. We will therefore be making changes to the way property is taxed, which will result in increased government revenue and for more fairness for taxpayers. These changes will be announced in the budget. This is a comprehensive tax policy. I look forward this year to delivering more in housing, on top of the 20 million extra Housing Innovation Fund, stimulus package, giving State House tenants the opportunity to own their own home, allowing Maori to buy on State House land. I look forward to that, Mr. Speaker. But I would like to finish my speech with this, is that last year I was errant because I called Marion Street dishonest in this House. And that was wrong of me, Mr. Speaker, because she is not dishonest. I disagree with some of the policy settings that the previous Labor government did. And Marion Street, as Housing Minister, there were policy issues and philosophical issues that I disagreed with. But she is not a dishonest person, and I would like to take this opportunity to apologise to her for that. I look forward to this year as Housing Minister, working with John Key, because we have a progressive package that we're going to put forward